Why did you do what you did? PlayStation, you make no sense to me. Why would you release a half-baked product and then give us the product that it should have been this far into the thing? Welcome to Twig, your weekly, geekly, family-friendly news show that tackles everything from the PlayStation Portal getting a tune-up to No Man's Sky finally getting its due with some games in between. I am Nerd Pastor Nate. I am really the pastor of Checkpoint Church, a real-life church designed with nerds, geeks, and gamers in mind on the internet. If you are listening on the podcast version of the show, be sure to give us a good review. Click that like button if you're ever on YouTube, or come and listen live on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Folks, as always, we'll be starting with our question of the day. What have you been watching and playing and reading over the past couple of days? As for me, I've been watching more of my 1001 movies. I did officially watch Gangs of New York. I had never seen that one, and man, that sure was movie. Wow, that sure was movie. I watched movie. That's what that was. I don't have any more that I can say about it. I also watched a movie called Juliet and Her Spirits. That one was maybe one of the strangest films I've ever seen in my entire life, but I didn't totally hate it. I did finally finish Paris, Texas, and really enjoyed that one. I honestly think Gangs of New York maybe would have been better if I had not just watched Paris, Texas. Not that they're at all similar, like, thematically or directorially or any of that. It's just movies about bad people, and Paris, Texas, in my humble opinion, just did a better job. It just did a better job. I've also been catching up on anime and all that kind of stuff. I have yet to start, but I am planning on starting Dragon Ball Daima post-haste. Still enjoying Ranma 1/2, Dan to Dan, all that kind of stuff, keeping up with the Joneses and all that. I have been playing Metaphor. I don't know when that game's going to end. I don't know. Maybe it never will. Maybe I'll be playing Metaphor for the rest of my life. That's how it's feeling. I am an entire game behind for the Button Bash Brigade, our video game club. I have not even started until then, let alone our Zet this month's pick. So I am behind on Dos games, and I am not happy about it. Dos videojuegos. I am not caught up at all. In fact, I am very behind, and I blame Metaphor almost entirely, as well as just I am getting back into Vampire Survivors Castlevania, but of course those are on my phone, so that's a different story. And then I maybe downloaded Balatro again. I will never say if I did or did not. You cannot make me confess. I won't do it. And then I am also reading so many things right now. I'm reading so many things. I'm continuing to read through Casino Royale, the first James Bond book. I am reading through this tome of digital religion. I did start Mythmakers, and so far, I am loving it. I think it's so good. That's our book club pick this month. And y'all, I highly recommend. If you don't normally join us for our book club, our video game club, our anime club, whatever, this is one book club that I really recommend. I think it's an absolute joy so far, and I've been having a really good time with it. I'm also really getting into Dungeon Crawler Carl. I totally get why the TTRPG or Lit RPG, isn't that what it's called? I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, I totally get why those work and why they are effective, and yeah, I'm sold. Hook, line, and sinker in that one. And then what else am I reading? I'm reading so many books. I did start Jason Schreier's book on Spoofy. I've been doing a book for bedtime by Taylor Lorenz. It's just, it's a lot, y'all. I am enjoying reading. That is my current joy and bliss. So that's where I'm at. Let's see where some of you are at. I see DGC has dropped in the chat for us. Watching Dan to Dan across the Spider-Verse. The Sonic OVA, is that the one with Cowboy Hat Knuckles? Because that is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love it so much. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Ping Pong the Animation, that's our anime for this month. And then streams also are in YouTube, also playing Ace Attorney Investigations. The first one, I presume, since you mentioned Case 3, I don't think you've made it onto the second one yet, unless you just really picked it up after that point. And then reading Fullmetal Alchemist, very nice. Fullmetal Alchemist is such a good manga. As much as I love Brotherhood, I started with the manga, and so it is where my heart lies. Good stuff. All right, well, let us know what you've been watching, playing, and reading if you're in the chat hanging out with us. But we're going to get into some of our news stories for tonight, as is what we do here on Twig. The first being the PlayStation Portal. Sony has launched a beta update to the PlayStation Portal, allowing PlayStation Plus Premium members to stream PS5 games via the cloud, even without owning a PS5. The update enables streaming in up to 1080p at 60 FPS, supporting DualSense features like haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, and the Portal's touchpad. Players can save progress to the cloud and continue seamlessly on their PS5. While the beta focuses on PS5 titles, it excludes PS3 and PS4 games, game trials, and some social features for now. Audio enhancements and PlayStation Link settings are also part of the update, refining this portable gaming device further. I have a lot of thoughts on this one. The biggest one being, why now? Why are you doing this now? Why'd you release it? Why'd you release this thing? Why did you do what you did? PlayStation, you make no sense to me. Why would you release a half-baked product and then give us the product that it should have been this far into the thing? I think this is great. I love the PlayStation Portal. I enjoy playing it with my PS5. I do have it in my home network, whereas I have the PS5 on my work network, which is about a couple miles away from each other. I do that. It works. It's not great, but it works. And so I am somebody that has been a fan of the PlayStation Portal, but this is so much better. This is so much better. I don't know if it works better, but just the concept is like, why didn't you... I will say, you can say that Sony for you and you're not wrong, but it is giving the exact same thing as Nintendo being like, oh, also you can use Bluetooth headphones in like year 4 or something. So I don't know what's up with these companies like taking their time on basic things, but it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre to me. I hope it works. I hope it's great. I hope it is a game changer for the PlayStation Portal. I hope it works so well and flows so smooth, and that the cloud streaming is just amazing. It's just amazing. I hope it does incredible things and people love this product, and that it becomes something akin to the Steam Deck for PlayStation lovers and PlayStation game lovers, because it's great. I think it's great. I just don't know why. Why did they not sit on it a little longer if they had this in their back pocket? Maybe they wanted to see how it would do, to see if they actually needed to put the money into doing it. I don't know. I don't know what decisions are made in boardrooms, but this was so very strange, and yet I will take it. I will take it and I will use it. I plan on playing it. I think it sounds fun, and I will give it the old college try. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think this is ridiculous? Do you think that it is also exciting? Do you plan on buying a Portal now and you didn't before? Or if you already have a Portal, are you exuberant at this news? And then a third option, did this change it for you? Or are you still not going to buy a Portal? Is this not something that would ever make you buy it even still? Let me know your thoughts in the comments or the chat. With that, we're going to move into Australia territory, which I know very little about, being very much a citizen of the US. Australia has passed groundbreaking legislation banning under 16-year-olds from using social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, with fines of up to AU $50 million. Excuse me. I was about to say $50. That's not too bad. Up to AU 50 million for non-compliance. Social media companies have a year to implement age verification, raising privacy and enforcement concerns. While lawmakers argue this will protect children from harmful online exposure, critics, including Meta, warn the rushed process didn't fully account for industry efforts or the needs of young users. Mental health impacts are also a concern, especially for vulnerable teens relying on these platforms for support. The law follows similar restrictive measures in Florida, set to take effect in 2025. I don't know, y'all. I have such mixed opinions on this. I think that as a human being, I want authority. I want the ability to make the decision for my children. And so there is that element of if I want my under 16-year-olds to have a platform, then they can. But I probably wouldn't let them have it until they're 16 anyway. I didn't even have a phone until I was 15, and I didn't have social media until I was a senior in high school. I wasn't allowed, and that was fine. And that was a parameter that my parents set. It was a healthy relationship that we had, and I just think that is always going to be the best way to do it. I guess the merit is for those that aren't going to do it. Maybe there's some room with that, but I don't know. It's just such a strange situation to be put into, and I do agree that 50 million is pretty wild. I'm guessing that is more on the realm of the social media site than the person. I'm not a lawyer. I do not know law, but I am assuming that penalty of non-compliance is on behalf of social media, not on behalf of the person using it, in case that wasn't clear, because I don't think it was clear in the read. But yeah, man. I get it. There was an article recently that was talking about teen girls in high schools and their principal like taking away cell phones or making them lock them in their lockers, and the girls being like, thank you, now I feel like I don't have to be dressed to the nines every single day because I might be on the internet. Like I get it. I understand that. I resonate with that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that we don't have control over other people's children. We can only control our own. We can only exert authority over our own. And so like I get it. I understand it. I get the challenge, but I am conflicted. I am conflicted with the usurping of authority on behalf of those in charge of their children, those actually like leading and guiding and directing their children's lives. Hopefully they have the wisdom to do this anyway, or to have conversations that they can adequately be prepared for. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to hear where this one continues to go. I know that we have a particularly Australian like niche here at Checkpoint, and so I would love to hear from any of our Aussie folks if you have any thoughts on this, if you are hearing any rumblings or rumors, or if you're concerned about it, if you're worried about it. I'd love to hear some thoughts from you especially. With that, we're going to get into our next bit of news. I hate that Sneaky Pig is not here tonight. 8 years after its rocky launch, No Man's Sky has achieved a very positive Steam rating. Big chats in the clap, marking a major milestone for developer Hello Games. Originally criticized for unfulfilled promises and a lack of content, the game launched in 2016 to an overwhelmingly negative reception. Through years of consistent updates and community engagement, the team gradually improved the rating, first to mixed, then mostly positive, and now at long last, very positive. Hello Games founder Sean Murray expressed heartfelt gratitude to players, acknowledging the hard work and community support being behind the turnaround. Meanwhile, the studio continues to develop its next ambitious title, Light No Fire. I would love to have Sneaky on to weigh in on his thoughts in regards to all of this, because I think that he would have a great perspective on it. But man, what a journey for No Man's Sky. So incredibly like proud of this team for sticking with it, knowing what they had, understanding what they wanted from it, and like not giving up, like trusting the process through to the bitter end, and making a complete turnaround on their product. I think that's incredible. Great work from this team. I think they're up again for like best community support or whatever at the Game Awards. And this year, more than any other, they truly do deserve it, because they have completely made the turnaround. Best ongoing game, I think, is what it is. But they have done it and done it well. And good on ya, Hello Games. I look forward to seeing what you do with Light No Fire. And somebody tell Sean Murray not to make such big promises next time, because he's just going to get himself in trouble. With that, we're going to get into a quick little segment. This is a follow-up from our Game Awards segment a couple of weeks ago. For those of you who may have heard, the Player's Voice officially did get announced. So the Player's Voice is the favorite game of the fan-voted inertia behind the Game Awards. So I can vote on this part and actually have an impact. They did release that there are going to be 30 games in the first round. It is going to end on Wednesday, December 4th, which is tomorrow. So if you have yet to vote, if you want your vote in the first round, then you should vote right now. The entries are Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Dragon Age The Veilguard, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Genshin Impact, Helldivers 2, League of Legends, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor ReFantasio, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, No Man's Sky, Pal World, Persona 3 Reload, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2, Sonic and Shadow Generations, Stellar Blade, Wuthering Waves, Valorant, Warframe, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, and Zenless Zone 0. So those are our 30 categories. I will say that of them, I think that some of them should not be up for this. I understand that like the player's voice is the player's voice and they don't have to be whatever, but I think that at the very least for this one, it shouldn't include games from like ongoing games. It just doesn't, I don't know, that just rubs me the wrong way as far as like Fork Knife being in here. Like, what are we doing? Why is League of Legends in here? What are you talking about? That these games should not count. There is no reason for them to be here. And there are so many other games that could be here that aren't. Where's Life is Strange? Right? I mean, Life is Strange, a phenomenal game that came out this year from a phenomenal studio. Where is Princess Peach? I don't know. I don't think that game was that great, but like that could be on here instead of Fork Knife. What are we doing? So I don't know. It's a weird list, and I'm going to vote accordingly. So I got 10 votes in the first round. Unquestionably, Astrobot gets one of them. Balatro gets another one of them. I'm gonna say FF7 Rebirth, Dragon Ball, Legend of Zelda, Metaphor, Pal World, Sonic, Senua, Persona 3. That's all my votes. So do I need to take anything away? Let's see. Do I need to take any of these away? I feel guilty not voting for Zenless because I really did enjoy Zenless Zone Zero. And I haven't actually played Sonic and Shadow. I just know the Generations game. So I'm going to give that to Zenless Zone Zero instead. Please don't judge me. Please don't hate me. I only have 10 votes, so I got to make the choice I got to make. But I am going to cast my vote. So that is going to be my round 1 votes. Submitting my votes. I have made a difference. I have made an impact. We will find out what round 2 is on Thursday. Bets are on Pal World winning. That would be a super fun player's voice to win. I would love that for the team. With that, we're going to get into our next segment, which is the start of Subthing New that still doesn't have a legally distinct theme song that I haven't come up with for some reason, and I really need to for some reason, and I just can't think of one, and it just is in my head at this point, and it feels kind of canon. We got a couple of games that are coming out on subscription services this month, although actually not that many. You know, I feel like some months Game Pass has had a plethora of games, and other months it has not been quite so impressive. And this is one of those months where, yes, they are getting one game that is particularly huge, but they aren't getting as many games. They're also losing a bunch of very important games. I know I saw Queerly Beloved in here at one point, and that is, you are losing, whatchamacallit, the game, not Coral Island, not Moonstone Island. It lost it November 30th, went off of Game Pass. So pretty big deal. Pretty big deal to see all the games that were lost in the past month, and then there are only 2 that have been added on. I digress. Let's get into what they actually are. So on PlayStation, we have 3 games as usual, releasing on the premium package. You will get It Takes Two, a previous Game of the Year winner, Alien Dark Descent, and then Temtem, the creature collector game that I thought I already had on PlayStation. I didn't realize that I hadn't been given it yet, but alas, those are your 3. None of them are too exciting for me. Both the 2 of the games are pretty old and old hat at this point, in the sense they've already kind of lived their glory days, but I don't even know Alien Dark Descent. Maybe it's interesting. Who could say? I'll claim them, but I don't anticipate playing any of these 3. On Game Pass, we're getting 2 games. On December 5th, we're getting a game called Overthrown, which I think is some kind of like MMO kind of playing experience, party style experience game. Don't know much about that one, to be honest. And then Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming out on December 9th. So that is a pretty big deal. We've got one coming out that I have been looking forward to for quite some time. And yeah, big news. Indiana Jones officially. I'm nervous as all get out about it. We all know how Mayfly would feel about this one being produced by Todd Howard, not for her, but it is a pretty interesting thing to see this finally releasing. We'll see what it is. I'm nervous as can be, but I'm hopeful that it'll be a pretty good experience. At the very least, we'll get to hear Troy Baker's voice, and that's always a joy. But I'm not holding my breath for this to be too mind-blowing. I'm expecting a fair to middling 7 out of 10. We will see where it actually lands. So that is the start of Subthing New, and we will get in now to our main topic. I mentioned earlier that this is Giving Tuesday. We are like a legitimate 501c3 church. Like we are a church in real life, and a church runs on funding, on tithes, on generosity, on stewardship of the people that are a part of it. And so we have a lot of different ways that we work towards sustainability as a church. We are writing grants constantly. We are applying for grants and for funding. We do have a bulk of our community that are working towards tithing and stewardship to support us as a means. We collect via subscriptions here on Twitch. All of the subs, we give that directly into Checkpoint. Anything that we get ad revenue wise over on YouTube or anywhere, any of our things, we do as much as we can with multi-source income to be brought into the big bucket. But the reality is that we're still trying to figure out how to become a sustainable ministry. And so we make videos like the one that we are about to make as a way to try and encourage people to know why they should support Checkpoint Church. So without further ado, Hey, nerds, geeks, and gamers, all who gather here at Checkpoint Church. I am Nerd Pastor Nate, the pastor of Checkpoint Church, a real-life church for nerds, geeks, and gamers online. Now, maybe you are here on this channel trying to learn more about us. Maybe you're trying to tune into one of our sermons or one of our pieces of content that we put out there. Maybe you're looking for a word of encouragement, or maybe you just like to geek out with a faith-forward community. Wherever you may be coming from, welcome in. Today, I want to take a moment to answer an important question. Why should you give to Checkpoint Church? Why should you support this real-life church financially? What makes this ministry worth supporting? Here's the thing. Checkpoint Church is more than just a community. We are unapologetically a church. We're a safe space for gamers, for nerds, for geeks, all those who have felt disconnected from traditional faith communities or worse, ostracized. We are here to offer a place to belong, to believe, and to become a community where what you love and who you are truly matters. But don't take my word for it. I'm going to show you some videos from a Why Checkpoint Church event that we did a couple of years ago from two members who are going to tell us their quick stories about why Checkpoint Church first appealed to them and what they've loved about it since joining. So enjoy this quick look at Perry and Sneaky's story.
My wife mentioned to me, like, hey, there's this church for nerdy people and like gamers and stuff. You should check it out. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then I didn't for like a couple of months. But then I think it was around January or February last year, I decided to give it a look. And I know usually people seem to find you through the Twitch first, then Discord, then YouTube. But I actually did it like the exact opposite way. Is I started on YouTube. I saw some of your Advent sermons and I thought they were awesome. There was a couple in there where I was like, oh man, this is like some really good stuff. And then I got on Discord and it was like immediately people were super welcoming. And then I, was able to swing on Twitch once in a while and check out what y'all were doing there. And it was like, yeah, this is just such a cool community, like just such a welcoming space. And I think there's no nerd cred required. Like, despite it being a nerdy community, there was not like this need to be like, oh, well, here's all my like badges of honor. Like, here's all the games I've like 100%ed, or here's all the like volumes and volumes of anime or like manga I've read. It was just like, oh, you're into that? Cool. Let's talk about it. And oh, you're like feeling this? Like, let's hash out some like deep conversation over here.
The reason I ended up coming to Checkpoint was because of Stained Glass.
Right.
He posted on Facebook, and I basically was kind of like, ooh, what is this? Super curious, really wanted to know. And so I basically just checked it out and was completely intrigued by the idea and just kept going with it. And I think because of a lot of people feeling the same way probably I did, so I have a home church that I go to, but it's tough to make connections because you start talking to people and they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, so you just tell them what you do. And then you're like, oh, what do you like? What are your hobbies? And you're like, I play video games and board games. And they start to go cross-eyed.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay. Small judgment incoming. And it's tough. Sometimes it's really tough to make friends at church or even in different places. Actually, ironically enough, I've made more friends in terms of who I played video games with when I worked at Starbucks than I have at church. And so looking at Checkpoint and seeing this idea, like it's all centered around this idea of games and just nerddom, it was something that just my heart went, ooh, I've got to be a part of this. The story that I tell people about Checkpoint, about why it has made such an impact on me personally in my walk with God, is that we do church every day. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you essentially get to be in the Discord 24/7. I mean, we're having awesome conversations. We're roasting each other. We're praying for each other. We're learning so much about each other on a daily basis that the group quickly moves from friends to family. And you don't get that anywhere else that fast. Like, it takes time to dig in. It takes time to make friends, and it takes a lot of work. But what I think is really cool is that Checkpoint makes it so much easier.
These are just a few of the stories that make up the heart of what we do. At Checkpoint, we are focused on meeting people where they are and showing them they're not alone and that they are loved and that faith can meet them in their passion. So maybe you didn't even realize that Twig was a part of Checkpoint Church, was a part of this thing, but Twig is one of the ways that we are trying our best to reach people where they are, talking about nerdy news and things that they might care about. This is what we do. This is why we do it. And these are just a small portion of the people that we have impacted so far and that we hope to continue impacting. Both of those people who just told you those stories signed on with Checkpoint and support Checkpoint, both with their time, with their tithe, with their gifts, and with their service, because they care about recreating that experience that they had for the next generation of people to experience Checkpoint. They want other nerds, geeks, and gamers to hear that bold message. But here is the reality of ministry and of any of this that we do. None of this happens without support. And so when you give to Checkpoint, you're not just donating or giving money or throwing money to something. You're fueling a movement. You're fueling something that is making a difference, that does have an impact. Here's a couple of ways that your contributions could make an even bigger impact. We're always trying to do bigger and bolder and more things. If you didn't know, I'm a solo pastor. I am the only staff person that we have here at Checkpoint. And so if you want to help us potentially add more staff to Checkpoint Church, that is where your funds will go. Here's another reality. As a solo staff person, there is only so much content that I can create. Our level 2 members step up into content creation every now and again, but the reality is that we would love to create more family-friendly content for you, your families, your friends, beyond to enjoy. We want more ways to reach nerds, geeks, and gamers, and currently we are at capacity. But with more financial support, we would be able to do even better ministry to even more folks. Also, hey, keep this ministry going so that we can actually charter into a full-on church. We're currently a church plant, and a part of that limitation is finding sustainability to become a self-sustaining church, a church that can stand on its own 2 feet and be approved via the conference that we are a part of, which is just a system of churches. For us to go forward in this way, we need to be able to charter. And then the reality that Perry and that Sneaky and that myself and that any level 2 member already believes, your financial supports allow this ministry to reach more people, to reach more nerds, geeks, and gamers. So I want to encourage you to give. I want you to know that your support, whether it's $5 or whether it's $50, whether it's $5 a week, a month, or $50 a week or a month, simply just sharing our mission, I want you to know that that support is what makes all of this possible. You are helping us continue to serve the nerds, the geeks, and the gamers, showing them that faith is not of reach. It's a part of the journey. It's a part of them. And you're reminding them that Checkpoint isn't just a place. It's a community, a church, a group of people dedicated to doing good, doing no harm, and striving to grow together. When you give, you're not just supporting some ministry, you're building a home for people who've never felt at home in a faith space before. Together, we are transforming the world into a place where nerds, geeks, and gamers can know that God loves them, that we love them, and that they matter. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Okay. And if you would like to support in any way, I'm again going to hit !give to fund there. If you're watching this video after the fact, which this part won't be, but I'm going to put a link down below as well in that YouTube video. So hopefully you will encourage sending this along to anybody that is needing a little boost of generosity or is looking for a place to help support or fund. We are always open to having those conversations, to sharing more of our story and encouraging folks to build up this community that we love to be a part of. So thank you for being a part of that. And I hope that thanks. Thanks for the affirmation there, DGC. I hope that it was good. If there's anything that needs to be edited out, I will edit it out, but I think we got it. I think we did all right. With that, we're getting into my favorite segment of Twig here, which is, of course,
At This Point in Nerd History.
That's right. It's time for At This Point in History. This is everything video game, movie, TV show, whatever that released on this exact day of December 3rd throughout time and space. So first off, in the world of video games in 2021, Danganronpa Decadence, which is the decade re-release of the 3 games in one package, released on this day. Haven, which is a great little experience if you haven't played it before, 2020. 2019, Life is Strange 2, which I pushed off way too long, and I wish I hadn't because I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. Man, that's a really bad first chapter. Gotta be real, Life is Strange 2. One of the worst first chapters of any game, but it sure does get good. And another game that released on that same day was Halo Reach. 2018, we got the PlayStation Classic console, which made me sad whenever I realized it was 2018 because that was kind of the end of an era of gaming that I really enjoyed. I liked the Nintendo Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic and the PlayStation Classic, and I wanted more. I wanted us to keep doing them. As much as I appreciate the Virtual Console, the little baby console was so fun, and I would love for them to get some energy behind that again because it was one of my favorite things. 2015, on this day, Mario & Luigi Paper Jam was released in Japan. 2014, Lumino City, which is a game that I wouldn't normally know, but it is on the ranking list of best phone games. So Lumino City was one that I super enjoyed. 2009, New Super Mario Bros. Wii was released in North America. 2003, one of my least favorite Sims games, but one that I did rent a whole lot from the movie gallery, Sims Bustin' Out, released today. 2002, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past and Four Swords, the 9th game in the Zelda series, was released in North America for the Game Boy Advance, alongside of Ratchet and Clank. 1999, Unreal Tournament did release. 1997, Tomb Raider 2, and 1993, Duke Nukem 2. Interesting couple ones there. Not too many movies, just one of note, which was in 2010, Black Swan, a movie that was, the commercials were too scary. Commercials were way too scary, and it made me way uncomfortable, but I sure did love what Saturday Night Live did with it, so it was worth it. And then a random fun fact for you theater nerds out there. This may or may not resonate for anybody outside of the theater community, but in 1947, the Tennessee Williams play A Streetcar Named Desire opened at Broadway's Ethel Barrymore Theater. Fun fact. I love that one. I enjoyed a Streetcar. The first time I think I ever saw it was the Alec Baldwin one with the Stella, but it sure is a great play and an interesting fun fact that you can keep in your back pocket there. On December 3rd, 1947 was the opening of Streetcar. Good stuff. All right, well, that is everything that released on this day throughout time and space. With that, we're going to get into our next segment of the show, which is, of course, right, it is time for our upcoming games that are coming out in the next week or so that I am excited about, with pictures this time. First off, we have Marvel Rivals. I will be playing Marvel Rivals. I'm excited for this. It's a superhero team-based PvP shooter where you assemble an all-star Marvel squad, devise countless strategies by combining powers to form unique team-up skills, and fight indestructible, ever-changing battlefields across the continually evolving Marvel universe. I'm not the biggest Marvel fan there's ever been, but I am curious about this game. I am interested in this game, and I look forward to playing it. I don't know if I will be able to get the gang back together like we did Overwatch style back long, long ago, but I'm down to clown, and we'll see how it actually ends up going. Number 2 that I am excited about in the next week is we had Monument Valley 3. Monument Valley is a puzzle platforming indie game by Us Two. First released in 2014 and recently given a resurgence thanks to Netflix games. Pretty cool stuff. I enjoy these games a whole lot. They're gorgeous. They're breathtaking. They're so fun to look at. Highly recommend them if you've never played them before, and I'm excited that we're going to be getting another one. And then the third one is the one that I already actually have mentioned once during this stream, and that is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Uncover one of history's greatest mysteries in Indiana Jones in the Great Circle, a first-person single-player adventure set between the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. The year is 1937. Sinister forces are scouring the globe for the secret to an ancient power connected to the Great Circle, and only one person can stop them: Indiana Jones. Become the legendary archaeologist in this cinematic action-adventure game from Machine Games, the studio behind the recent Wolfenstein series, and executive produced by Todd Howard, Mayfly's favorite person. Good stuff. Like I said, I'm interested. I'm curious. I'm a little nervous, but I am excited for it nonetheless. And so we'll see We will see where this one actually ends up going, but I'm down to at least give it a try and hear how it does. Thank you for that follow. One huge nugget. Appreciate that. DGC is excited for Star Rail 2-7 and for Noah the Otter to begin the marathon of Fire Emblem. Ooh, very fun. I love Fire Emblem, and I love the idea of marathoning it. That sounds like a great time. Good stuff. All right, with that, we're going to get into our final segment of the show, which is, of course, Meme of the Week. That's right, it's time for our meme of the week. Our meme of the week this week comes to us on behalf of Sneaky Pig. Everyone knows that the greatest miracle Jesus Christ ever performed was to turn himself into a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Caucasian when he resurrected himself. Good bit, good joke. This one is the one that got the most reactions, thanks to Sneaky posting it. If you'd like to be considered for our meme of the week, be sure to use our Memes and Goofs channel over on our Discord server. That is where we hang out 24/7 all of the time. And people post memes there, and the ones that get the most reactions are the ones that get the love and get to appear here on our Memes and Goofs segment of our show. So congratulations, chats in the clap. Good job, Sneaky. You did it. You won him over. You did the thing. You did the work. You made a good goof. With that, we're going to get into the end of our show, wrapping things up right along a little bit early, a short show. We love a short show, but this has been Twig, your weekly, geekly, family-friendly news show delivered live on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch each and every week, keeping your family connected to the world of nerdy news. If you watched this far, you probably enjoyed this one. Remember to give us a 5-star on your podcast app. Click that like button. If you're over on YouTube, recommend the show to all of your favorite nerds. Folks, as has already been mentioned, we appreciate everybody that supports this show in any way that they can, but we want to give a special shout out for those that do support us financially, especially on this Giving Tuesday. So these are folks that have given their hard-earned dollars to subscribe to us on Twitch and help us with that ad revenue. Thank you to our subscribers, Sugar Haiku, Jade Live, Yakeem4752, Joanna the Scribbler, Mine from Marlene, Zando Calrissian, Ed Dude 3452, Nerd Pastor Nate, Gobi Chair, Tina Christina P, Twilight 27, DGC 12 1996, Trombone Dalek, maybe 30 Bats, Bweesh, the Animal Art, Sneaky Pig 633, Wizened Lemur, Coyote 42, Perspective. So thank you to all of those wonderful folks that support us. We appreciate you. Is there going to be Twig next week? Yeah. I think there'll be Twig next week. I don't see any reason. I think we've got next week of Twig, and then we got a week after that that'll be the finale for the year, and really for like a good month. I have a feeling we'll probably be pressing pause on Twig until probably the middle of January to ring in the new year and all that kind of stuff. So we got 2 episodes left in this season of Twig, and I hope that you have enjoyed this. I look forward to the future and some of the changes that we're going to be making in the future, but all of that is for another day. Folks, we're going to be wrapping up the stream with our 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you. Number 1, we believe that God loves you, like really, really loves you, no matter who you are, where you've been. God loves you. Number 2, we love you. We want community with you. That's what we're doing here. That's why we do these things that we do here at Checkpoint. And number 3, that you, yes, you matter. You are a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Till next time, bye-bye.